Hi, thanks for watching. I'm going to watch this video right here in the comment section that I post. So I'm going to start it. So as you guys could see, originally this is Russell Brand's video. And we are talking about a new agenda that the decision makers would kind of propagate in throughout the world through regulation maybe or through uh, interpretation. Let's see it. Wow, the facts are determined by the Nazis. So I've watched this video before. It's not exactly a reaction video, but you guys should have a mindset here where in the past, the media or the journalists uh, are obliged to report from both sides. So whenever there's a news, you as it is journalism integrity, in the principle of journalism integrity or something like that, there's a principle that the journalist uh, must abide to report things from both sides. So if they didn't have the counter argument, they should kind of make that known that this is like a subjective point of view and they haven't received um, like a response or a clearance from the opposite side to respond to this accusation or this side of the news, the opposite side of the news. So let's have that in mind, and it's going to be relevant in this video. So that is a red flag already. We are like the media are not supposed to use the word riot. Wow, that is like, what if it is a riot? But you have to pick your words out so that it would I mean, what if it is you not your style? What if you're catering towards a different audience? What if you know your audience and the language that they are accustomed to? And it is sort of dystopian, don't you think? That even the choices of words is pursuable legally. Right. So you have to interview the minority groups, 50% of them. I think there's a reason behind that, and I cannot say that I disagree, but to have it as a mandate, to have it as a obligation, I think it is also something that is overdoing it because especially in the United States, most people are white. Most the demographies are white. I know it is hugely relevant for the minority groups, but if you want to mandate it, it's just a good, very good practice, in my opinion, to have 50% of the respondents as from the minority group, because we are talking about a danger here. We're talking about risk of risk of systematic injustice that probably is com going to be made common, you know, by the public media. So they don't want that, and they kind of mandate that the voice of 50% of the minority should be voiced. I think that's a if it is not a mandate, it's a very good practice, by the way. That's my position. However, starting from there, things could spiral uh, to the negative direction. All right, guys. So I think that is the news that we are going to have a little checkpoint here, and then I want you guys. I'm probably going to go back to this video later. I want you guys to also watch a different video. Please bear with me as I am putting it up. This one is from Decoy Voice. Let me post the link. Decoy voice is I think is a Japanese ethnicity living in the US. And but this news is relevant. This news from the UK is relevant now. Wow. Did you guys listen that if you retweet an event or riotous event, that could be held liable by the government, as you are trying to propagate or instigate public discord, or sorry, public um, instability. All right. So the judge said that uh, the judge was being specific that the one who were condemned here has purposefully has had purposefully uh, like instigate this public instability actions, and by doing it through the social media. So that is some, so take it with a grain of salt. Like maybe he was posting, retweeting it, and then like make a comment to instigate people or to provoke people. I don't know about that. If that is the case, that probably is the case, because this is judged like a court proceeding. So they would have some evidence and everything. But if the case was just retweeting or republishing just like that, and he got punished for that, that is also, I could see that unreasonable things actually happened based on what happened in the past. So if that is the case, that is crazy in my opinion. You're not supposed to do that. So this is the wild interpretation side of things, because when you're retweeting, you're supposed to be being net neutral. So if someone took that neutrality as an offense, a lot of times people would band together to support the one who perceived to be the victim. So with the victim mentality, you could put words into other people's mouth. With the victim mentality, or with the one who felt insecure, you could accuse other people, and you could band together support to make other people's life more difficult, because you use the veil of victim, the veil of being harmed. And people, as a human being, we don't like injustice, right? We have this sense that we want to protect justice. So sometimes it can be misused. This sentiment and this conservatism can be misused in order to attack an enemy, for example. So that, as a human being, also we should have that filter as well. So this is the what I understand is, if there's a misinformation, the free speech mechanism is like a free market, right? It's gonna penalize the misinformation. So because of our ability to make fun of other people, that making fun is a reward, is a rewarding system in our brain. So when there are things that are genuinely bad, we are compelled, or like we have the inclination to make fun of it, and we should encourage that. I know it had been a misuse, it had been used for bullying, but that is also subject to counter bullying. So that is the mechanism of free speech. And I think somehow the government doesn't have too much faith in that mechanism. And instead, it wants to use the mechanism that were used during uni-Soviet Mao Zedong's era or other dictatorships era like that. And that is wow, like we should move on from that. There are benefit and there are drawbacks in dictatorship. Like a very good dictator, like for example Mr. Lee Kuan Yew, or CEOs, for example. I mean, CEOs are in place. Lee Kuan Yew, for example, he performed really well. The problem is if the administration were to be handed down, all of these administration are in favor of the dictator. And when there are no check and balances, how can a person be an exceptional person all the time? How can the successor be exceeded, relatively speaking, with time, with the change of time, which is always increasing in entropy? How could that competence be maintained the same way, while the preparation of the administration is to favor a certain style? You should, I think, if you are really really a competent dictator, you should be able to kind of unscramble all of these administration back to normal, back to democratic, back, I mean, yes, after you step down. So just like a joint venture, when the purpose has already achieved, the venture is disbanded. I think that is the right way of doing it. And we have, as people, we have to be able to know that and to anticipate that. When it happened, yes, we will complain because things are worse than before, in a successful dictatorship, of course. But we understand that it's coming in the future. So from the get-go, there's already like a terms and condition that, oh, it will expire one day, and you got to prepare a new election. You got to prepare a new fresh administration that's going to be run by different people, and that is going to address different things. And um and the thing is, like, that is something that has been done. It has been repeated over time by democratic countries. And I know it is not perfect, but because it has been evolving up to this point, we should have enough concerns, points of concerns that we could address in order to keep it up. Now the problem is those who are at the top just don't want to play the joint venture game. They don't want to take off their powerful position, because I think as a politician you are there for a purpose. You are there for a law to be passed. After that, you don't have the expertise. Like, people elect you probably because you are an economist that wants to further uh, game theory hybrid mechanism in the economy, so that, something like that, so that the economy could advance further. After you are done with that, the next thing is probably not, you are not the best person for that. So but I think this is the problem that we are having now, that there is an administration that is trying to preserve the same kind of people at the same place. And that is but that doesn't necessarily have to be bad, as long as the same people kind of be reasonable and not be like a communist dictator and stuff. But now we are starting to see the momentum building up towards that again. And that is my concern, really. Okay, guys. So I think it's pretty obvious for us that what the problem is and what are the concerns. In one side, what we are seeing that like we are not having a point of view of non-white people in Scotland. On the other hand, is that there are this problem we have in Europe about immigration and these anti-white policies and stuff that are very sensitive right now because it's causing a lot of problems, including at the worst, the rape gang issue in the UK. And multiple times already since 2011ish, there are a lot of cases involving violence or sexual violence against women in Europe by immigrants. And that is so insulting, guys. That is very, very insulting. I cannot like that it's a it is something that if you thought that it is something that people are going to let go of just like that, it is something that you what are you expecting, you people at the top? What do you like it doesn't make sense, you guys, that you are ignoring this issue and then you expect people to kind of live their life as if there are no wounds going on. Like I know, you know what? I know that war is a waste of time. I know that we are supposed to be furthering our society right now. But if you are lying that about the real problem, that is not right. That is not right in the hearts of the people. At least be honest about it, and then we can move on while seeing the truth, while keeping in watch. You know what I mean? There are terrorists out there. There are insane evil out there. We gotta keep watch, and we can move forward with the truth, with honesty, and that is there's safety in that. But if you were to ignore that, and if you ignore the magnitude of the problem of that, how could you expect people to kind of be in tune with your crazy agenda? That is such a what the you know what I mean? What the fuck? Okay. You know what? And why is this happening? It's because of the very same momentum that is preserving itself because of this ignoring mentality, ignoring attitude. Or just ignore it, don't make it a big deal, and everything is going to be all right. I mean, I'm not saying that it doesn't have merit at all, but it is temporary. If you there's going to be a point when this have to be addressed, especially when it's going to repeat itself. Guys, let's watch Russell Peters and there's another video as well that I haven't show you, but if you want to go there also, you can check out Osmond Goals. There's news about Mexico. um yeah, a riot in Mexico. My bad. um or should we go there? Should we go there? So you notice that she's talking about the new era. So that means the old way of doing things is no longer relevant, right? So what kind of things that are no longer relevant? Probably freedom of speech. But guys, the solution is not censorship. Censorship is going to bring about dictatorship. Censorship is going to bring about anti-audit. You know what I mean? Censorship is going to bring about elitist, exclusive access to criticism. So only few people could criticize the elites, and um, like we as ordinary people have the potential to be competent by criticizing ourselves. Iron sharpens iron, but we need that opportunity to be given, not, I mean, to be free, not be bothered by governmental power to stop our potential to be critical, our potential to be corrected, our potential to be able to be reliable enough to criticize the current problems. But if you want to be an elite censorship society, you are going to fill this world with incompetence endlessly, and you're gonna look down more and more towards regular people because they don't have a chance to improve themselves. You guys have some kind of these compartments of competence, exclusive titles that is hard to access. That is like professor, doctor, things like that. But times one, times ten, the hardness to access that, and these people also are not being corrected a lot of times. And what's going to happen is massive incompetence, and ultimately, AI is going to be the answer. So, if your concern is to counter the danger, the risk of AI, you want free speech. And it makes sense that they have Rumble as well, because we know that like the government would communicate with Mark Zuckerberg. We know that in the past. And I believe if they try to communicate their concerns with Mark, they would also do that with Elon. They would also do that with YouTube, whoever is in management. And I think they have a pretty strong bargaining power. But that's why we have to have a diversified media that is not being upon whom narratives are not being controlled by a certain agenda, and we can learn for ourselves, and we could criticize ourselves through this information, not through an echo chamber, but through this enlightening, broadening, like horizon broadening medias. For example, Rumble, I believe, have a unique set of point of view, and other media, maybe rebel media as well, have unique sets of point of view that is uncomfortable by the Democrats or the liberal or the labor. And on the other hand, there are also people who are comedians, liberal um, Democrat comedians such as Joe Rogan, such as, oh, I forgot the guy who combed his hair back. It just escapes my mind. A lot of liberal comedians as well, and um, I want to say Jimmy Kimmel. Some of them, yeah, but sometimes Jimmy Kimmel like presented his fact in a way that is so convincing that you never know that it has convinced you a wrong way, because it's very, you cannot really trust um, like people who are who are censored. You can't really, so that the only freedom that they can do is within the censorship's mean. And that is also should apply probably with the conservatives, including with Russell Brand, including with Joe Rogan, like like these people that I've said. uh, but yeah, you gotta be able to criticize yourself. But how could you do that if you're living in an echo chamber, if you're while you are online, you cannot be criticized. You cannot access this iron. But that is the greatness of Trump, right? He really, when he's really revolted by something, it is not immediately going to translate into suppression like the dictators do. He didn't instantly like suppress this with force. But I mean, let's not talk about ICE, because ICE is about deporting illegal immigrants. Uh, is it about voice? Is it about the opposite, the opposing voice? You know what, arguments can be made about that, but the context of ICE is about deporting immigration. And is that something that a dictator do against journalism? I think it's pretty long chain of reasoning in order to get there. But immediately speaking, I cannot, like I cannot, at the top of my mind, I cannot remember what kind of things that Trump do that is like that, like dictator kind of, like some other dictator would do, like for example Kim Jong Un would do. uh, and especially he wouldn't force you to honor him. like that. He even encouraged you to make fun of him in some occasions, and that is like what how's that is the way that he's presented here by CNN. But it is impressive journalism that you could figure this out and you can find it and you can present it, because I personally haven't seen much of this point from the conservative media. So I need like the fact that Russell Brand put this up is actually very nice that I can know about this. All right, so let's watch Asmon Gold's take about the Mexico situation. So, you guys, there's a riot in Mexico that is trying to kick away newcomers. I think this is a sentiment that arise uh, looking at what's happening in the United States, upon which. Upon which they kick out people of Southern American, mostly people from South America that is in the US. So probably this is also has something to do with that. This mentality like if they could do it, let us show that we can do it as well. That is something that is I think is also a factor of this happening. But let's watch it.
Mexico demand that Americans stop immigrating to their country and stop stealing their homes. Most people coming from other countries, mostly foreigners, who want to impose their culture, their prices, and displace Mexicans, the native people of these lands. Protesters in Mexico smashed windows and screamed at tourists as part of an anti-gentrification march. I'm here because gentrification.
Guys, but the difference with the what they do in the US is that they didn't destroy businesses. That is a little bit too much, right? That is skipping a step. If you want to deport newcomers, you gotta use the police. You gotta go through this legal system. But if you just do the rioting, that is violence and that is like crime. And that is like, is that the way of the land? That is not good. I don't think that is the way of the land. And what's going to transpire to is even more preservation of violence, and that is not a good sign, really.
Segregation is just one more step towards colonization, dispossession, exploitation of our resources. Demonstrators spoke out against wealthy individual nomads driving up prices, particularly Mexicans who stay in Mexico for 180 days without a visa, or Americans that stay in Mexico. So now they don't like illegal immigrants? Yeah, based. See? Yeah, it sucks, right? Kill a gringo. Uh-oh. Even I know what that means. I went to a 70% Mexican high school, okay? I get it. I totally get it. Because these people come into your city, they have way more money than you do. They increase the prices of everything. Then they run you out of the fucking city. Having national pride and not...
Now there's a nuance here. Like, for example, the Chinese that bought all of this property in Sydney, for example, they do have a lot of money, and they do like kind of make it difficult for locals to be in Sydney. So that is one thing. But is it the case for like countries in, like, there are rules and regulation, for example, in countries that are very tight, for example, Japan, for example, the rules of and regulation for foreign people to be able to own a property in Japan is actually, I know the property, there are a lot of people in YouTube say that the prices of houses in Japan is really low, but there are a lot of caveat to that, like the red tape and stuff. And I think like some communities have already put in place some kind of protection for the local people. And I think it is a market mechanism thing where you want to say, oh, it is because of the foreigners taking in all of this money and increases the price. But on the other hand, think about it. If they brought in money, if they didn't use your money that is in the bank, credit them, borrow them, and increase the price locally, which is bad. But if they took money from their own country and brought it in, what you should experience is actually increase in purchasing power, uh, because of the new wealth that is coming in. If the implication would be higher prices of property within the city, what you're also going to experience, if that is the case, is also increase in prosperity of the suburbs and eventually new cities. And I think if that is what's happening in Mexico, you should be able to see that. And if you're patient about 10 years, you should be able to have a set new city that is even more prosperous than before, because the new city plan and new city design is actually more modern. It's pretty hard to upgrade a city, a whole city. It's pretty hard. But because of a lot of capital going in, that's going to be enabled. That's going to be possible. And you should be able to see that probably within 10 years. But I don't know what's happening in Mexico. I think if the if this is this outbreak, let's say, or this demonstration is not inspired by the ICE policy in the US, would it be the same? And if you didn't have this and you wait for a while, would you actually embrace it? That's the question that you want to ask.
Not wanting foreigners to come into your country, change its culture, its customs, and its traditions, that's normal. And I feel like the amount of guilt that people try to put on Western countries for exercising these same freedoms that Hispanic countries here are exercising, I think is ridiculous. Lots of white people? Bro, there are plenty of people that are Hispanic that have skin as white as mine. Aren't you black? Not, I don't think so. I know one way I could test it. Should I test it?
Now we're playing with the big stuff. The N-word.
Whoa. All right, guys. So, okay. So how do I go back? All right. So these are the three videos. I haven't give the link for Asmon's video yet. Wait, guys. Wait. Yeah, so those are the concerns, guys. This is the freedom of speech issue, and it's convoluted. It's being convoluted with conservatism. It's being convoluted with immigration. And is it worth it? Is it worth it, guys? The destruction or the censorship, the destruction of freedom of speech and censorship, in response, being using riots as an excuse. I think this is a very profound issue, and these riots are very like what I wanted to say, because I want to end the video. I've been talking for too much probably, but these riots and stuff, it's a short-term issue, and like all of these law enforcement have some good reason. For example, like the problems that are caused by the asylum seeker or the illegal immigrants, that is causing local problems. And I think that is very normal for all of the countries to enforce their laws, but it is being used as an agenda to suppress freedom of speech. Why is it there's so many investment in changing the culture of freedom of speech in this world? What's happening right now? I think it has something to do with the coming of AI, but I think also there is an agenda to demean human beings and to reduce the critical thinking of human beings, so that one day there's going to be good enough reason to replace human beings in the future. Because these human haters, these people who say, "Oh, you eat animals, therefore you are you are immoral. Like animals are living beings too. So do plants. Plants are also living beings. We are trying to solve it. We try to make meat in the lab or things like that. But we want to reduce the price and stuff. We gotta make it nutritious. But I think these people are still furthering their cause, their evil cause. And yeah, what do you guys think? Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.